To the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into some fascinating source material around Chelsea's recent Club World Cup match.
That's right.
The big focus, their progression, specifically that crucial 2-1 win against Palmeiras, happened over at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia.
Yep, secured their spot in the semifinals.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack what our sources tell us about how they won, the details behind that scoreline.
And there's quite a bit to chew on, definitely. It's not just the result, it's the nuances of the performance that really tell a story.
Absolutely. Because 2-1, well, it sounds close, right?
It does.
But what's really grabbed me from the sources is this description of Kelsey's first half. They're calling it excellent. And get this, saying they arguably deserve to lead by a far greater margin. Just the one goal from Cole Palmer, though.
Yeah, that's the key point.
Yeah.
The reports really detail how Chelsea's high press and their quick transitions just seemed to overwhelm Palmeiras initially.
So pinning them back.
Pretty much. Constantly disrupting their buildup, forcing turnovers near the Palmeiras goal. And the source mentioned several, big chances.
Right, those clear-cut opportunities, the kind that statistically you'd expect to go in. High XG chances.
Precisely. But despite creating those, despite looking tactically superior for large parts of that half, only Palmer found the net.
So what does that suggest? Great goalkeeping, last-ditch defending, or maybe Chelsea just weren't sharp enough in front of goal.
Probably a bit of everything. You have to give Brazilians for hanging in there. But yeah, the sources do lean towards Chelsea maybe lacking that clinical edge on the day. Uncharacteristic, maybe?
It's fascinating, isn't it? You dominate a half, create loads, feel like you should be cruising, maybe 3-0 up.
Right.
But you walk in at halftime and it's only 1-0. It really highlights those fine margins in knockout football.
It absolutely does.
So how did the sources describe Chelsea's approach after the break, knowing they hadn't really, put the game away?
Well, this is where you see a shift, according to the material. It seems less about that first half attacking flow and maybe more about pragmatism, control.
Managing the game.
Exactly. Securing the lead they had, rather than pushing relentlessly for more goals that just weren't coming easily. The sources don't explicitly say, like, they changed formation drastically, but they point towards a more mature approach.
Okay.
More disciplined defending, trying to limit Palmeiras' chances on the counter, especially as the Brazilians inevitably pushed forward looking for that equalizer.
So it became a different kind of test. Less about flair, more about grit.
Yeah, a test of their mental strength, their game management, just as much as their skill.
Right. So not just a win, but maybe one of those winning ugly type victories, showing they can dig it out even when things aren't clicking perfectly up front.
You could definitely frame it that way. It shows a different side to them, that resilience, that ability to manage pressure and just get the job done.
Okay, so looking ahead then, what does this kind of win, this hard-fought, maybe slightly frustrating win imply for the semifinal? Do the sources give any clues?
Well, the suggestion is that this kind of battle-tested victory, it could actually be really valuable.
More so than an easy win.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It sharpens their focus, builds that mental toughness you absolutely need in the later stages of a tournament like this. They've faced a situation where dominance didn't equal an easy win, and they still came through.
Okay.
But there's a flip side. It also subtly flags up that, against potentially even more ruthless opponents in the semifinal,
Yeah.
failing to convert those big chances, that could be punished much more severely. So the challenge is clear.
Keep that first half creativity, but find that killer instinct again.
Exactly. Find that ruthless edge in front of goal.
Okay, so the key takeaway for you listening is Chelsea battled through, secured that 2-1 win against Palmeiras, and they are through to the Club World Cup semifinal.
Indeed. And it really leaves us with a fascinating question for you to think about. What does it really tell you about a team's character, maybe their championship medal, when they play an excellent first half, really should have scored more, but only get one, and end up winning narrowly 2-1? Think about what that kind of victory suggests about their readiness, their strategy, maybe even their potential vulnerabilities heading into a huge semifinal clash. What does winning like that actually mean?